I, 42 female, am married to my husband, 47. My husband and I have been together for 16 years. We have a teen son, Jasper, and a tween son, Jason. My husband was married previously for 3 years and had a daughter, Ali, 22. My husband and I got Ali during the summer every year, so Ali and I should have formed a relationship, but sadly did not. She was not interested in a relationship with me. Ali planned to come to visit us for a week. Her toddler daughter and boyfriend Mick of 3 years would accompany her. My husband and I decided Ali and our grandchild could have the guest bedroom, but Mick would sleep on the living room couch since they're not married. When Ali arrived Monday and found out about sleeping arrangements, she was very upset and demanded Mick sleep in the guest room with her and their baby. My husband and I told her no and that he was more than welcome in the room during the day but would need to sleep on the couch. She started yelling and called me an idiot, saying I wasn't even her real mom and that I was just turning her dad against her. I told her I was sorry she felt that way, but the answer was no. She got really mad and then left to stay with her mother. My husband has suggested just letting them sleep in the same room so they'll return, but I feel our request isn't unreasonable. Am I the idiot? Oh honey, she has a child. The toothpaste is out of the tube. The horse is out of the barn. 2/3 of Puritan women were pregnant when they got married. You are the idiot. They have a kid together. What could happen if they shared a room? Right, these people have a kid together and Opie is still trying to protect her chastity. Maybe she would have wanted a relationship with you if you weren't so utterly toxically controlling. Were you the kind of step-parent who wouldn't help her get birth control? Is that why she had a baby at 20? If we want to be all Christian technical about it, in a strictly pure sense, since the stepdaughter's mother is still alive, Opie is living in sin with the stepdaughter's dad because the marriage isn't valid as long as the original spouse is still living. Opie needs to dust off those couch pillows so she can sleep with her boyfriend. I'm dying. I agree though. It's also quite telling that Opie blames the stepdaughter for their lack of a relationship. She was not interested in a relationship with me, even though Opie and her husband got together when the girl was 6 years old. That's on the two adults to foster a relationship and not the first grader. This is like, my dog chose not to have a close relationship with me. BS. Your dog hates you because you suck. Yeah, you've got to mess up pretty awfully in an ongoing fashion for a 6-year-old to choose not to have a relationship with you. Opie, it sounds like you and your husband are a big reason why her relationship with you sadly never happened. She's an adult. That's her partner and the father of her child. Trying to prevent them from sleeping together is just ridiculous. Also, most people don't have intimacy in the guest beds, especially with their toddler in the same room. They're probably just literally going to be sleeping together. So preventing this family from sharing a room is absurd and controlling. Also, maybe the boyfriend is expected to help with the baby. Why is OP assuming mom does 100% of the childcare? It's bigoted. Jeez, imagine forcing a parent of a child to sleep on the couch because they're not married and not letting the person know until they show up. Talk about being incredibly rude and a terrible host. OP is worried that if she lets them share a room at her house, the stork might bring them another child. No, in her house, storks check for wedding rings, obviously. OP, don't pretend this is about your beliefs. You're trying to exert control over a grown woman to know her place in your home. Your husband is also a weak man for allowing you to do it. Fingers crossed, stepdaughter decides to cut you out of her life. My girlfriend is at a job she can't do remotely, and we're planning to move to another state together, so she's job hunting right now. In her first interview, she had a call with a top company whose recruiter had messaged her on LinkedIn. I expected her to treat it normally, but she spent an hour grilling the company on its engineering practices and withdrew her application. And the next few calls with companies she basically grilled them all and decided against moving forward with 4 of the 6. I told her around then that I felt like she was making a mistake being so picky and that she was going to ruin her reputation in the industry if she went around taking interviews and cutting the process off early. She said she wasn't making any enemies. Heck, the companies she dropped had been emailing and constantly calling, wanting to bring her in for another interview or asking her to reconsider. If anything, she was a hotter commodity. I felt like she was probably still hurting her reputation long term, even if her little power play was working for a bit. She said it wasn't a power play, it was professional, and she didn't want to waste anyone's time. But the next interview I overheard started a big argument. One of her final 2 companies had her taking a Zoom interview, and she was laughing it up with an interviewer, and he was telling her this story about he and his co-workers fell off a barge into the river working on a project. And she just was like, "Wait, they had y'all doing that, not tied off to anything? Look, as funny as that is, that's honestly kind of messed up they put y'all in danger like that. I'm honestly going to have to withdraw my application." She got off the phone and said, "Damn, people really tell on themselves if you just listen and smile. Did you hear that crap?" And I said that I thought she ended it a little prematurely, like she didn't even ask if they'd changed anything there, just ended the call. I said it felt like she was trying to delay getting a new job. Was she getting cold feet or something? She said, "No, this is literally how people at her level interview." She was serious about the interview process, and she wasn't interested in walking into a crap show. So I said that was BS, she was sabotaging herself on purpose, haranguing the companies wanting to hire her on the phone. And she was like, "Why do they keep coming back for more then? Like, I'm critical, but I'm not wrong, and they know it." We had this big fight where she insisted that anyone at her level of a career interviewed by interviewing companies to see whether they were worth their time, just as much as the other way around. And I said that was BS. She got mad I was telling her about her own career and said she knew it better. Am I the idiot for arguing with my girlfriend about her interview? I feel like she's dragging her feet. She says she's interviewing normally for her field. You are the idiot. Your girlfriend is actually doing this right. She should be interviewing the company and withdrawing when they don't meet her expectations. They need her, she doesn't need them. I also don't walk into crap shows. I'm at a level and experience I don't have to. Sounds like she's in the same spot. It's also her job, her life, and her decisions on how to manage it. Are you going to work at these jobs with her? No? Keep your nose out of it then. Yeah, stop mansplaining how to interview for a job that you do not do and in a field you do not know. Does it bother you that your girlfriend is more successful than you? On top of that, I work directly with customers that are in the tech recruiting space. Currently, we're in an absolute candidate market. That means that OP's girlfriend definitely has plenty of opportunities and can and should be picky to ensure she ends up at the right place. Sounds like she should have vetted you a little better. Stay in your lane. Not only does her approach work for her, but she's also being selective about taking the role that's the right fit for her at the right price. And that's the best thing you can do in a job search. You are giving her terrible advice, and you really need to stop before she decides that you're telling on yourself and dumps you. Update. Well, you've convinced me. I apologized to her and we talked stuff out a little. I was so caught up in the how could someone ever reject 200,000 or 300,000 from several top companies that it didn't really hit me that her concerns were deadly serious, and I jumped thinking that she was dragging her feet on moving, which, to be honest, might be a bit of insecurity too. So, thanks to everyone who commented, I needed the wake-up call that I was an idiot, and apparently, an idiot at job interviews too. I, 22 female, am getting married soon. Since my fiancé and I are child-free and because we plan to have alcohol at our wedding, we decided to have a child-free wedding with the age cut-off at 21. This requirement so far has gone over well with most of our invitees. Most of our invitees don't even have kids anyway, so it doesn't make a difference for them. I do have one friend, Mel, 20 female, that I had to exclude from the wedding. After realizing that pretty much everyone else from the same social circle had been invited except her, she confronted and demanded to know why she wasn't invited. I tried to explain that it wasn't personal and that I didn't want to worry about underage drinking under my nose on my wedding day. But Mel kept accusing me of being a bad friend. She argued that since we'd drunk together before, it shouldn't be such a big deal. But I told her that it was a difference since we were both underage at the time. I was 20 and she was 19 when we started drinking together. Now, as an adult, I feel like I have a responsibility to prevent her from drinking, and as the bride, I have the right to have a child-free wedding. Mel is unconvinced and keeps talking bad about me behind my back to our mutual friends and making snarky comments about me feeling superior. I don't see why she can't just relax and let me have my wedding day the way I like. So, am I the idiot? It's weird that you would consider someone that is a year younger than you a child, yet think that you are old enough to get married, so close to being a child. You are the idiot. You wouldn't have to worry about Mel drinking. The only person with that concern would be the barman. Now, as an adult, I will act like a high school mean girl. I'm dying over the sharp turn this took from drinking with her at 20 to calling herself an adult and acting morally superior. I couldn't contain my laughter with how those sentences were back to back, yet Opie claims she's surprised by the former friend's reaction. Hypocrisy? Thy name is Opie. You are the idiot for referring to this as a child-free wedding. Your 20-year-old friend is not a child. Also, the whole, now that I'm a whole 22 years old, I feel a responsibility to stop 20-year-olds from drinking thing is coming off very condescending. If you were having a child-free wedding, Mel would be invited. You're not doing that, and as a result you're excluding exactly one person from your friend group because you apparently don't even trust her enough to say, please don't drink at my wedding because I don't want to deal with any liabilities. I'm betting Mel is an attractive person that Opie is worried might take some of her shine. Opie, get a grip. You're barely older than her. If you don't want to invite her, that's your decision, but going round calling her a child and being a snob about her drinking makes you an idiot. My fiancée and her son recently moved in with me. My kids are here every other week and I told them their routine wouldn't change. The room I gave to my soon-to-be stepson used to be the guest room, and nothing about my kids' rooms changed at all. My kids have been adjusting pretty well to new people and I was happy with how things have been going. Well, my fiancée said my kids have been bullying her son by talking about him in Urdu. I asked how she could possibly know if they were talking about him, and she said they talked in front of him in a language he couldn't understand, so they must be talking about him. I think that's a stretch. She said, regardless, it hurts his feelings and needs to be stopped. I said no, I couldn't tell them what language to speak. She said to tell them not to speak it when he's around, but he lives here now, so he's always around. It isn't a reasonable request and will just create animosity between the children. He needs to get used to occasionally hearing a language he doesn't know. I got used to it. She said that was my choice, but not really. You can't expect everyone to always speak your language. Edit. They learned Urdu as infants just like they did English. It's one of their mother tongues. They speak English to him just like they do me, but sometimes they speak Urdu in front of him when he isn't being spoken to. They also do this to me and always have. It's never bothered me. Come on, you are the idiot. It sounds like you've got two kids who speak a language that nobody else in the house does and who are relying on that to support each other. One more that can sometimes talk to them who is stressing out about what's going on and you don't care what they're saying. You're neglecting everything, kinda. This is maybe an everyone's the idiot here. Your fiancé is being a bit dramatic, calling this bullying, assuming they're not actually talking about your son in front of him. And you're right, he can get used to hearing other languages that he doesn't know, nor does she control whether they speak Urdu in the house or not. But if they only speak Urdu to each other in front of your stepson, and he's always on the outs, unable to participate, that's not fun either. It creates an us and them dynamic that I assume you don't want in your house, so you don't need to tell them to stop speaking Urdu entirely, but if it's the only language they speak around him, could you have a conversation with them about that? Exactly, I don't think this is just about Urdu. It sounds like your stepson is feeling left out and upset, and that should concern you, whether or not a particular person is at fault. Blending families is tricky, but your fiancé is a major idiot. Assumptions are bullying because the steps speak a different language, forbidding them from speaking their language to each other at home. My fiancé and I have been together for about 3 years, and we're scheduled to get married sometime in 2025, so we have time to save up for the wedding. He has 2 kids, a son, kindergartner, and a daughter, pre-tween. Recently, he was talking about how cool it'll be to have his kids in the wedding party because he has full intentions of having his son be one of his groomsmen. I hadn't even considered having his daughter be a part of my wedding party. It's not that I don't like her, she's an incredibly sweet and caring girl, and I truly love her to bits, but I have a lot of friends and it was already hard to narrow down who I wanted to be in this wedding party with me, and I don't really want to have to kick out another friend for his daughter. When I told him this, he got really upset, saying it's not fair that his son gets to be in the wedding party and his daughter doesn't. But I truly don't see that as my problem because he's the one including his son in the wedding party. So I told him his daughter could be the flower girl as I do want her included, but he said she'll be too old for that by then, which I don't get because she'll only be a tween. Maybe that is too old, I'm not sure. Now he's kind of giving me the cold shoulder and talking about how I don't care about his kids, which truly isn't the case. I just don't want it to be a bridesmaid. I want it to be people I've been friends with for my entire life. Does that make me an idiot? You're marrying someone who has children. They will be a part of his life forever. Why are you working so hard not to include them in his day? Because it's not all about the bride. You are the idiot if you don't figure out how to include his daughter. If you can't, find someone without kids. I'm with you. Even if they already had 10 people on each side standing up for them, I'd find a way to make it 11. If they had 16, I'd find a way to make it 17. No place is a good place to exclude her, but the wedding? Tut tut. Besides, I've never been to a wedding where I counted the number of people in the wedding party. Heck, my friend's younger sister was her flower girl and she was pregnant and in her 20s, lol. She was dressed like a bridesmaid, went to all the functions, and stood with us during the ceremony. I'd totally be the flower girl for someone, and I'll be 35 soon. People think way too hard about these things and how they should be. She's not going to be the same as all your friends. Your fiancé doesn't expect her to go to the bachelorette or plan a shower or something. Just wear a cute dress, walk down the aisle with her brother, hold a bouquet, and feel special getting her hair and makeup done. Don't think of it as replacing someone. Basically just a match for her brother. You could also suggest she be a groomswoman. Stand on Dad's side. I still highly suggest having her get her hair and makeup done with you though. That sounds so special for a tween-age girl, whether she's a bridesmaid, groomswoman, or not.